Robert, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us today.
This is Ferguson Media. This is the Good News Check-in. And what you have for us today really is incredible news. Not just good news, because this is the marriage of technology in pursuit of a really good story, which is conservation. What was your interest in bringing technology into solving a conservation or an environmental problem?
Well, I'd like to say it was planned, but it was actually accidental. If you had asked me 10 years ago, would I be sitting here talking to you with a drone next to me?
Yeah.
I would have said no ways. And I think it was a late friend of mine had a house in a share block near the Greater Kruger region. And like most of the reserves in the area, they have a poaching problem. And he was dabbling in trying to see how they could get drones to help the rangers. Unfortunately, he passed away before he ever got to actually see it come to fruition. But you know, they say fate sometimes steps in, and ironically, a friend of mine's parents were the wardens at the same reserve. Went up to visit her, got to see firsthand what the rangers are up against, and I don't know if the general public actually understands that we're fighting a war.
Really? You describe it as a war?
It's a war.
Yeah.
The rangers they don't sleep. They slumbering, waiting for a gunshot or someone on the radio saying another rhino's been poached. They don't know what they're going up against. They may walk into a firefight. They may just find the animal. We had situations where anti-poaching helicopters were actually shot at.
Oh, really?
And
Sure.
when you speak to a lot of the military veterans who've come into South Africa, they equate it to being in a battlefield. But you're in a battlefield where the rangers are ill-equipped. They're in territory that makes it very, very hard to find their enemy, the poacher.
Yeah.
And technology was lagging behind. So, of course, you know, coming from an IT background, your first thing is, well, let's give them a drone. We'll put it up. It's going to be easy. I mean, we're advanced. We're in the 2019s already.
Yeah.
So started looking for an off-the-shelf drone, found a few companies in Cape Town. Yeah, we can do it for you, no problem. And around 40, 50,000 Rand mark later, we weren't getting anywhere. And it's like, well, where are we going, guys? No, we need to spend another 60, 70,000 Rand to get there. Like, hang on. Let's have a look at what everyone else is doing. Let's step back and actually see, surely someone has got this right and we can learn from them.
But what were you looking for specifically that you felt was a unique requirement?
So to put an aerial asset in that could cover large areas very, very quickly with thermal cameras, give the rangers night vision, give them an advantage over the poachers, an advantage that was really going to make their job easier. So first of all, they could identify incursions. Second of all, they wouldn't walk into an ambush or a firefight.
Yeah.
They would be able to see ahead. So, I mean, technology's been around. We've all had model aircraft. We've had drones. We've had copters for a while. So it came as a big shock that the general perception was that drones don't work in conservation. And that was a very, very weird scenario because why?
Yeah.
So I think
Because in principle, it sounds like the best idea, right?
yeah, I think one's natural instinct is to say, what's everyone else doing wrong? And then you realize, having an IT background, let's step back and understand what a drone needs to be able to do to actually be successful. First problem, there are no blueprints on how to integrate drones into conservation.
Really? And that's as it stands right now?
As it stands today,
Wow.
there are no operating procedures for sandparks, for civil aviation, for air traffic control, for dealing with rangers on the ground and all of the different groups. There's not even a guideline on what a drone needs to be able to do. So we started an intensive project on identifying what does the drone need to be able to do. And you're talking no runways, so it needs to vertical takeoff to be able to take off anyway.
Yeah.
Fly long distances, carrying a versatile payload on it, be semi-autonomous, and survive the South African conditions. And you realize very quickly that the drones coming out of Europe and America just weren't designed for these conditions, and the Chinese drones didn't have the flight time for it.
So, yeah, that's a fascinating thing. So are you suggesting then that the South African conditions are so harsh that they're actually a threat to the existing drone technology that's available right now?
Yeah, so if you look at a lot of the drones, they're either in carbon fiber or they are foam. foam drones either get broken in the wind here, or ants actually love the foam for their nests.
Come on,
So
really?
you will park your drone tonight, and you'll come back tomorrow, and there's a skeleton, and the ants have got this beautiful insulated foam for their nest. Carbon fiber drones, they break in the field, and you can't repair them in the field. So it needed a drone that was modular, easy to repair, and that wasn't foam and carbon fiber. That led us to 3D printing. The issue was the state of the art wasn't there yet in the 3D printing industry. It was promising to be there, but it wasn't. So I founded the iAbove for two purposes. One, to develop the blueprint for integration of drones into conservation. Then realized that to do that, we needed the drone.
Right.
To do it. So we started designing this drone, which is now the Bush Ranger.
It's such an incredible machine, and here it is in studio with us. I don't think we've ever had a drone quite like this at this scale. And is this ready to fly?
This is ready to fly.
That's incredible.
This is actually our test prototype.
And how much flight time has it had?
It's had a lot of hover time on it. It's had some forward flight time. We are still making changes to it and improving it. So one of the problems was when we went into 3D printed drones, we first had to find a 3D printing technology that would work.
Right.
And we tried everything. I think we spent more time evaluating 3D printing technology than any other company out there.
Yeah.
Started off looking at HP with their powder bed system. Early days didn't quite work. Looked at the fusion systems, the laser fusion systems, sintering systems, didn't work. Looked at the resin systems, didn't work. Built a large-scale FDM printer, which is your filament like a robot with a glue gun. It worked, but it wasn't strong enough to actually survive commercially in the bush. Then HP called us and said, hang on a second, we've got a new printer. It's going to change everything. It's like, yeah. Right, heard this all before. What's the catch? Well, we'll do the project for you, but it's going to cost you about £20,000. It's like, guys, we are self-funded here. It's myself and my fiance have put everything of our own money into developing this. We don't have 20,000 Rand lying around to spend, and we're not going to ask anyone for a cent until we know we have something that's viable. We're not going to be another one of these projects that, let's raise money, and 6 months later, where did the project go? Where did the money go?
Yeah, and I imagine also when it comes to investment, if people really like the idea, they'll invest, but they may also want to take some of your equity in the project as well.
Yeah, and we're a non-profit.
Right.
So there is no equity in the project.
Yeah.
So we sat down, we discussed with HP, we told them what we're doing, and they actually said, guys, this is important enough that we will waive the money.
Well played.
So that was huge for us because the first print on that printer was the predecessor to this. It was 10 years ahead of where we had been. And I think if you look at what HP is doing now, they've built a whole drone division on the back of us.
That's incredible. So there's an entire plan to continue drone technology or the printing thereof.
So last year at Exponential in Houston, they had our drone on their stand. They had a tiny stand and one drone. This year they've got 16 on their stand.
Yeah.
That's how it's grown based on this.
Yeah.
For them.
How are you then collecting data in order to make the changes that you need so that it's adapting in the places that you need to make it optimal?
We do testing, we analyze logs, flight logs. So having the airframe look like this was step one. It's a very, very durable material. It's nylon, it handles the environments, it handles extreme heat, it handles extreme cold. But because we're going where no one's been before, you learn lessons along the way. So this material is exceptionally flexible. Not in a bad way, but it has an elasticity to it.
Oh, right. Has some flex.
Has some flex.
Yeah.
So the predecessor of this had smaller motors. We decided we needed to carry more payload, so that means bigger motors.
And that'll be the tech for like night vision and stuff like that?
No, that's actually a radar that's being developed to detect snares, wire snares from the air in conjunction with Endangered Wildlife Trust.
Okay.
Now, what is interesting is when you put bigger motors on the drone, everything changes, including the fact that this material is like an elastic band.
Yeah.
Instead of just getting to a state where it breaks, it flexes. Now, your autopilot is intelligent. It notices that it's flexing. So it drops the power, but it doesn't expect it to shoot back like a rubber band. And
Yeah.
we're actually learning, well, at our expense, and driving a lot of research for the industry on how these materials work and how to work around those materials. And this drone is evolving to, on a software and a literally physical hardware side,
Yeah.
to work around the materials that are available.
Did you attend the expo in the US?
Yes, I did.
And what was that like? What were the questions about and interest?
So from a conservation side, we were expecting that, you know, we were solving a South African problem. We had conservation organizations coming from around the world and saying, it's like you built this for us, which means that they've got the same problem that we have, that there aren't drones designed to work in this field, which is a bit of a strange scenario. Then we suddenly had the military come to us and say, hang on, this is a medium-range reconnaissance aircraft. And it's like, yeah, at $30,000.
Yes.
Yeah, competing with $200,000 to $1 million aircraft. And suddenly you realize where the problem is.
Right.
The commercially available aircraft are coming in at a price point that's just unaffordable on it. So we with our sister company, our commercial company Teleraves, are determined that the conservation aircraft are provided at cost. Because there isn't the money to afford a $100,000, $200,000 aircraft.
Yeah, yeah.
$20,000 you can raise the money for, and that's literally just the cost of producing the airframe.
And with HP as a partner, I'm really impressed with them because they obviously see your vision and they support the use of the Bush Ranger. What do they want to get out of it?
So HP is an interesting company. They're a massive corporate.
Right.
They have everything from computer to medical tech to imaging to printing to 3D printing. We've had incredible success with the 3D printing division on HP, and they've had incredible success with us because it's launched an entire division within HP. People looking and saying, wow, you can build something this big on a 3D printer. From HP's point of view, this has been the perfect vehicle for them to show what 3D printing can. But having said that, without their support, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you started off, and you referenced your background in IT earlier, was that something that you could have foreseen back then, that this would be an application of all the skills you had learned and developed over time in IT, in that industry?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been fascinated with aircraft and cars and boats. And I've always said I would like to be able to build an aircraft. I never thought I'd actually be building an aircraft.
Here it is.
I also didn't realize the price tag that comes with building an aircraft. But it's been an incredible journey.
What is the overlap then with your background in IT and developing something like this as a project?
I think understanding the requirements. So unlike a lot of commercial projects, we are needs driven. We built an aircraft to meet a particular set of requirements. And now that we're in the aerospace industry and we're seeing what everyone else is doing, we're seeing companies that come up with a great idea, but because it's a commercial venture, they get venture capitalist funding.
Right.
Now, everything in this industry takes longer than you thought, especially when you are breaking new ground. The VCs start to get impatient because they want a return on it. Where can we cut the corners and how fast do we get it into market? And what ends up going out there is not what it needs to be or what it should have been. And we were very adamant. We would spend as much time and money as needed to get this aircraft to where it needed to be.
Which part of the project would you absolutely refuse to compromise on, where you would simply never cut corners?
The performance and specification of the aircraft.
Okay. Yeah, and what would that do if you had cut corners on that?
We would have ended up with what they call a 4+1, which is where everyone tried to push us, which is a very easy to build. So you take a conventional airframe, you put 2 motors under each wing, and you put a propeller at the back. They are relatively easy to build. They were never designed to be built that way. They're noisy, and they are not optimal performance, where we're trying to squeeze every single minute of flight time out of this aircraft and be silent. And it needed a very different approach. Also, the winds. I mean, you've been up to the Kruger in those areas. The winds can be severe. So when we say to people that this aircraft can fly in 60 kilometer an hour and has hovered in 60 kilometer an hour winds,
Really?
everyone looks at you like, really? How?
Yeah.
Because it's designed for it.
And that's with the payload?
With a payload.
Yeah.
So this aircraft also, 2-meter airframe, carrying a 5-kilogram payload with a takeoff weight of 15 kilos. That's unheard of for an aircraft of this size.
That's incredible. Is that an African first or a world first?
It's pretty much a world first.
Really?
It's competing with aircraft that are 3 and 4 meters.
Oh, wow, okay.
To be able
So
to
this has optimized all of that.
Yeah, and it was a long process working with professionals, designing, redesigning. You can ask my fiance, there were many nights where it's like, are you starting again? It's like, yeah, back to the board, because that didn't work. And starting from scratch and going over and over and over, like until we got it right.
Yeah. And it's still evolving, right?
It's still evolving.
Yeah.
This is actually going to a 6-motor aircraft now for redundancy. Again, we are totally reliant on parts from overseas, which is very sad that we don't have a local industry where we can just go and buy a motor from a South African company. And we're at the mercy of, does China feel like supplying us today? What has America got? What is the price? Can we afford it? Do we have to wait till next month? But yeah, the aircraft is continually evolving as we learn new things about it.
The discussion about poaching and anti-poaching seems intrinsic to how local communities or people who live in that area become part of that illicit supply chain.
Yep.
Whether they are themselves poachers or whether they are giving comfort and protection to the poachers, it seems that they have a real stake in what's going on. How do you hope to try and work with them so that they don't become an enemy to the project, but they must somehow become a partner to it?
Well, that was the biggest revelation, actually, because we started off, let's protect rhino. And then we realized, what about pangolins? And what about everything else? And then we realized, hang on, this is about more than just animals. This is about entire ecosystems. And there are rural communities that live around those ecosystems that have been forgotten. I mean, our government throws around the word, fourth industrial revolution. How about just basic education in those communities before we even talk about fourth industrial revolution? So one of the requirements of this project is our pilots and engineers will need to come from those rural communities. Let's empower them. Let's bring technology to them. Let's, the future pilots coming out into South Africa, let's come from those communities. Let's put wealth back in and give them a stakeholding in protecting the environment around them.
So they can take ownership of it as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you see yourself as a teacher?
No. I'm hoping to bring the right people in to the project, but we're at the stage now where this project has to start growing, and to do that, this project needs funding.
Right. So in the way you've planned the progress of this project, what kind of funding do you need and what will the funding do?
So initially, as we said, we were happy to fund the development of the aircraft and the working with partners like the Crane Foundation, EWT, SolidWorks, HP, to get an airframe that could take the next step. But while we've never intended drawing salaries, we have to start putting training programs in place. And that's going to cost money. We need to put people who can go out into those communities, start finding grassroots organizations who will help actually raise funds to train the kids and the pilots and bring maybe drone technology into their education. But that's not something we can drive ourselves anymore. And I think the biggest surprise has been the lack of buy-in from the South African commercial sector and industry. If I look at the projects that are out there at the moment, most of them are funded by international donors. And somewhere along the line, it's like, what, don't we care about our own wildlife and ecosystem?
Our own cultural and environmental heritage.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because some South African companies are just trying to survive out there, but where, for example, we needed to transport this aircraft for testing. We don't have a four-wheel drive to take it where it needs to go.
Right.
We had to rely on our own vehicle. We approached the motor manufacturers, and we got turned down time and time again. At the same time, they announced the sponsorship of a celebrity. And that's great for an influencer. It's great for numbers. It's great for return on investment. But when our ecosystems disappear, they're not coming back.
Yeah, that's a point well made. You know, there's something that people call checkbook philanthropy. And it makes me wonder, to what extent are we giving ourselves some reassurance that if we throw money at something, that we have already, by nature of funding something, done our bit, when we actually should be looking for the return, for the real impact, whether it's the environmental impact or whether you're changing the lives of these communities. And I think that becomes the real test, doesn't it?
So I can tell the companies out there and the people out there.
Yeah.
We invested everything we had into it. We took our pensions. We took the money for our house. We went getting a new car and things. Every cent that we had of our own money went in.
Yeah.
But because we spend money on the drone as and when we've got the money, we're moving slowly.
Yeah.
The drone is almost there. It needs a little bit of money from pilots, pilot time, a little bit of programming, some tuning. It is on the verge of making a huge difference. What we need now is the support from the whole industry to protect our ecosystems, to give us the resources to put the training program in place, to give us the resources to empower those communities out there, to give us the resources to stimulate the industry so we do grow a homegrown drone industry. And it's going to benefit everyone if we do, because technology will flow back into South Africa.
That's a huge part of it for you. You know, obviously, you're invested in this project because you know that it's going to have impact in so many different ways. Yeah. Yes, there's the commercial benefits. There's the educational benefits. There's the supply chain benefits. What do you get out of all of this?
Actually, someone asked me that the other day. It's a very hard question. I get hope. I get hope that we can change the lives of South Africans and we can save our natural heritage.
Robert, I know you have a macro view of the industry when it comes to manufacturing of drones. What about the parts of the industry that can individually manufacture the components that are needed in drones?
Well, that's what we've been pushing really hard for. I would love to be able to phone a local company and say, I need motors.
Yeah.
I need a drone motor. This is my spec. Great, we've got it for you. I don't care if it costs twice what I'm paying from some other countries. It's on my doorstep. If I need it, it's available. It's not going to take 6 weeks or they're out of stock or someone else has placed a big order. It's here. Yeah. And there is a massive market for motors that aren't made in certain countries around the world, and drone components that aren't made. We could be exporting to the world, or we could be exporting to Africa, because Africa's on a drive to become more sustainable. Yeah. And the drone industries in Africa are growing. They're not growing here.
That's interesting. So where in Africa is the drone industry growing, and are you connected with them in any way?
Nigeria has a very big thing. Ghana has a drone industry. They're realizing that they have to become self-sufficient on them. And they're designing their own drones. And it's fascinating to see the development. And I mean, I was saying to someone the other day, you see these videos come out of Africa where someone takes a chair and bolts a motor onto the back, and they've got a blade turning on the top, and they want to build a helicopter.
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't say civilized, but Europe, who looks down on the rest of the world because we're so civilized and advanced, laughs. But hang on a second. That person already figured this out. Can you imagine if they had the education or the resources to understand the engineering behind it?
That's a great point, yeah.
Because they're doing something that without any education, they're doing this based on what they've seen and what they've pieced together. Yeah. And we would like to see that happening here. We would like to see actual parts, actual components for helicopters, for aircraft, for drones being manufactured in South Africa. We were a technology hub once.
Yeah. Do you see those parts of Africa where there is drone technology now developing? Do they have the same uses for it, like as for an example in conservation?
No, it's mainly mining and surveillance, and a lot of it's government driven. The governments there don't seem to just be talking, they seem to be actually doing. There's a huge investment in technology, an actual investment in technology. in getting foreign companies to invest in the technology, and we're not seeing that here.
Where is it falling down then? Because obviously there are, there's so many organizations that would love to raise awareness. They're doing a great job with that. But where does it fall down thereafter?
So we have, even in conservation, we have, I think at one stage there were over 300 organizations raising awareness of the fact that we had a rhino poaching problem.
Right.
And awareness is great, but I think we all know we have a rhino poaching problem. What are we doing about it? What are we doing? And I think we all know we need more technology and job creation in this country, but what are we actually doing about it? We're doing a lot of talking.
Yeah.
But I don't see the drive, because we're going to build drones. I get a grant. I'm going to build drones. Where does the drone come? It's a kit that comes from another country.
Right.
That's not building a drone. That's assembling something someone else built and making them rich. We have universities, we have the CSR, we have tech centers. Why are we not developing our own technology? And this was developed here. This is one of the most advanced drones in the world.
That's a wonderful thing to say. So just going back, you made an interesting point earlier about the rangers and the challenges they face at a practical operational level. You were looking for a vehicle also so that you can actually get this thing out into the areas that it needs to operate in.
Yeah.
What vehicles were the Rangers using, and would you not be able to get a similar collaboration?
So the Rangers do have sponsorship from the likes of Ford, and there are other companies. The weird thing is, the second you mention anti-poaching, which is where this started off, everyone doesn't want to be involved.
That's strange. Why is that?
Too controversial. But it's a controversial subject. It's happening. We can't turn a blind eye and say, oh, we don't want to be involved because it's controversial. It's happening on a daily basis. It's there whether we like it or not. Projects like this will help actually change it. Because when you have a drone like this with maybe 5 or 6 hour flight time, with night vision, flying over, poaching becomes more risky. It becomes harder, which means the cost goes up. And eventually when the cost becomes high enough, and the communities are fighting back, the local communities, because they're making money on stopping poaching,
right,
you try find other avenues to make money. You start avoiding poaching. And yes, I'm well aware it's crime relocation, because there's always going to be crime. And the kingpins behind it are just going to move to something more lucrative.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's protecting our natural resources and heritage.
Well, we'll put a drone there too.
Yep. Eventually that'll happen. I mean, we're seeing drones everywhere, from policing to maritime patrols to search and rescue, to anti-piracy, it's going everywhere. And crime's going to become more difficult. Manned crime is going to become more difficult. And I think a lot of people are going to start switching to cybercrime and to things like that. But there are industries that are set up to deal with that.
When you were at the convention or the expo in the US, did it make you a bit nervous that there was interest from the military?
It was a very, very difficult situation, because the military were coming to us and putting serious pressure for something like this on us. And I think that's the moment where you have to reassess. Are you after the money, or are you in this for what you set out? And we were very firm. Conservation is our first point of call. We will not look at our commercial side of the company until we get the conservation side up and running. And it's cost us. It's cost us contracts, it's cost us deals, it's cost us money on it. But I think it's very easy to lose your way when someone starts wagging a big check in front of you.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that check's not going to where it needs to go to.
So you really feel like there's an ethical discussion to this as well?
Yeah. I don't ever want to be supplying weapons.
Yeah.
Not personally. I would rather focus on surveillance aircraft, for mines, for search and rescue, for that sort of work.
Yeah.
If someone wants to buy an airframe from me, I can't stop them buying an airframe from the commercial side, but I'm not going to weaponize the airframe.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd like for you to take us through the various parts of this, but before we go there, I have a question about, to what extent has AI assisted you in the collection of data, in the building of your models, in understanding what the bush ranger is doing? Where would you apply AI, and what is it doing for you, if anything?
So I think it's important to clarify what AI is and the different parts. A lot of people are saying AI is Claude, ChatGPT. That's one facet of AI. That's an AI that is a language model that can interact with you. But there are other AIs that are pure algorithmic intelligence. They are algorithms designed to make decisions based on sets of parameters faster than we can.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we've been working on for this drone is autonomous tracking. When the drone is out 100 kilometers away from the rangers and it picks up something, what happens next?
Mm.
So we actually have software in development at the moment where the drone will autonomously track the person. Of course, the other side of that is the military stuck up their hand and said, thank you very much, we'll take 5 of those.
Yes.
But that's not where it's going.
Sure.
This is solely so a drone autonomously can look for people who should not be there and report back to the rangers about what they're doing. On the other hand, when you look at the LLMs like ChatGPT and Claude, people trust them a lot. They shouldn't. A lot of the times they make up things. They are very eager to please. They have access to huge data sets, but they're not always giving you things that are true. And we've seen a lot of companies fall foul of that, where they've relied on the data, realizing the data was made up. What is interesting is Claude, specifically, has developed a new trick. And I know it's programming, but I'm from the software industry, and it's interesting program because it's asking questions. Give you an example. We were using Claude for help with a rendering to show someone the drone. That was just simply how to get the lighting right, how to tweak the thing. And it suddenly started asking questions about the design. We weren't discussing the design, and it said to me, if I may ask, its exact words.
Oh, come on, if I may ask.
If I may ask, why did you choose this unconventional design? I'm like, 60% of humanity wouldn't ask that question.
Yes.
Why
correct.
are you asking me? And then it went into a whole discussion with me, and I'm like, okay, I can understand, say, be curious, ask questions.
Yeah.
But how does it know to ask the kind of questions that it's asking? And yes, it's synthetic intelligence,
Yes.
but it's evolving fast.
Just to ascribe the word evolution to that, that's a huge leap and a scary one, because in asking the question, it's making something of the answer. It's using the answer for something.
And that's leading us down the road where we will show it a picture of the airframe and say, okay,
Yeah.
with all the data we know already about the design and the aerodynamics, you tell me, Claude, what you do and don't like about the airframe. And it's actually astounding at its ability to analyze and to work through and say, well, have you considered this? Because maybe that's a problem. And it's not wrong a lot of the time. And I think it's understanding the questions and understanding it is a tool that needs to be double checked, but it's a tool that's driving design a lot faster than we were before.
Or developing a new design that's going to optimize the functionality.
So a lot of the assessment on the 4-motor versus the 6-motor was actually done with Claude. Watching it very carefully, analyzing everything it suggested and running through simulations ourselves. But it had some very, very valid comments about it, especially from a redundancy point of view.
Robert, it's incredible, the project that you have undertaken, your goals, your ambitions, the support that you've managed to get as well. I have a sense that this is just the beginning of a huge thing to come.
It is.
I can see how proud you are of this. And I want you to know that I feel the pride. And it's what you've done with this, a huge congratulations to you. We commend you on all your efforts. I know there's a long way to go still, but from Ferguson Media and our Good News Check-in, we want to say all the best with this and congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to showcase where we are.